Have you ever known someone who seemed to collect everything? Well, of course you have. And on our first stop near Monteagle, you're going to meet a pair of brothers whose obsession with collection has become kind of well known. In fact, what they don't collect, they create, and that created some attention from Rob Wiles.
J.R. Scott is showing a visitor around his home at the base of Monteagle Mountain near the town of Deckert in Franklin County. People are always interested in visiting J.R. and his brother Dick Keetley because they're nice, interesting guys, but they also collect and create very interesting things. J.R. says it's a long-time obsession.
I call it junk, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of antique. It's just plain good junk. And I started when I was 16, doing that sort of thing. And then we finally found this property and built this house to house all the collections.
Definitely not junk. Treasures. Everything from art to autos.
That 1940 Ford, I got that in 1973 and went to college in it. And that gal's been with me ever since.
J.R. and Dick both served in the Army, retired from the service, and though neither was originally from Tennessee, they moved here, and the collecting continued. Until J.R. and Dick decided, we've got to put these things somewhere, so they built a museum so visitors could view their treasures too.
You'll find an eatery on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, you'll find the general store. And on the same wall with the general store, there's a post office under the steps. And then after you pass the pot-belly stove, you'll enter into the antique garage. Oh yeah, this is my favorite room. There is a 1921 Model T, a 1929 Model A in there. And be sure when you go in there, say hello to Dr. Mojo, or he'll have his feelings hurt.
The museum came after the house, which J.R. and Dick also built, though they aren't trained designers and contractors.
Well, I went to school to lay brick, but I found rock was more interesting. So I walked around with a wheelbarrow and picked up all my rock. That was back when I had a good back, and started cementing it in, and there's your fireplace.
There's so many personal touches like that in this house, which Dick says is just the way they wanted it.
Well, we built it the way we wanted. Our shop is 40 by 40. The living area is 40 by 40. It's joined. If it's miserable in the winter, we don't have to go outside. We just go down the steps, do what we want. We got everything in the shop, the TV. It's comfortable, it's quiet.
Which gives the guys the opportunity to pursue other interests. See, what they don't collect, they create. J.R. is an artist, and Dick does much of the finishing work on his pieces.
I always been busy. The hardest part of a retirement is not doing anything.
You know, it must be pretty much impossible to do nothing here, since J.R.'s artistic eye falls on all manner of creation, from windows
I look for bits and pieces of glass
to other pieces where glass plays a part.
I had this large mirror, and I took some number 3 shelving board, laminated it together, and then started whittling it. The rifle stock carving is my most favorite. The ornamentation is especially interesting to me. C scrolls, S scrolls, and how they would interact with each other in the wood.
So where did all this artistic talent come from?
Well, the Lord gave it to me. 35 years ago, I just picked up a knife and a piece of wood and started whittling characters and things, and it carried on ever since.
It's really not a surprise that J.R. is working on a carving taken from a biblical story.
think I have 100 animals right now. I've made 2 other Noah's Arks, and I figured, well, it's about time I built myself one and keep it.
Carver, yes, and JR is also a painter.
There was a poster a man did for his wife celebrating Chattanooga several years ago, and I liked it so well that I took his idea and pushed it further. Where he left off, I added in pigeons and everything that you would see in a city. More cars, more advertisements. Well, you could even see the telephone sign in it.
So the brothers stay hard at work, but really, JR doesn't think of it as work,
For the pure pleasure of it.
which works out wonderfully for the rest of us who can take pure pleasure in touring JR and Dick's collection at their museum near Deckard in Franklin County.